We've got Daniel Wood and Reggie Wideman with the Heat Tracker app.
We're Affinity for Technology projects. So they came to us and they asked us to help them develop this app. The need that they saw was that, on a Friday night after work, you're trying to figure out where to go. You might go on to Foursquare and see where your friends are. You might go on to Facebook and see where your friends are. The problem is, you know those people already. Right? Yeah, for what it's worth. So maybe you don't want to go there. So what they thought is, they said, well, there are all these APIs out there. So why can't we have an app that geolocates, that develops a heat map, that shows you where people are, people that you might be interested in meeting who maybe you don't know. So they came to us and they asked us if we could make that happen, and we did. And that app is called Heat Tracker. And playing in the app is way more interesting than hearing me, so I'm now going to hand the microphone off to Daniel to talk about how it works.
Thank you. So yeah, we had a lot of fun putting this together. Big shout out to some of the other minds behind it. Out of Chicago, Kevin Drew Davis, who is an ex-Portlander, used to live in the neighborhood and actually work at White and Kennedy. He's now out of Chicago. He originally concepted this for one of their clients, and they presented it to them, and didn't necessarily fly off the shelves to that client, and they thought, well, gosh, this is probably still something that we find interest in. And so they went a little skunkworks route and made this happen, and worked with us to bring it to life. So we had a lot of fun with that. So Heat Tracker, at its essence, is a very simple mashup. It's a visualization of Foursquare. It's looking at check-ins by venue versus by people. Typically, as Reggie was saying, you follow a certain set of people, wonder where they are and where the hotspot is, but when you're in Austin at South by, or you are in a new city and you don't know what's around you, you just want to see maybe where people are at, or maybe you are in the city that you're used to and you want to go somewhere that you're not going to get mobbed, and you want to say, okay, well good, no one's in my favorite restaurant, let's go over there. So there's a couple different ways to look at it. You can scan it and look at it by pins. So there are 5 different pins, 5 or 6, we just added one recently. And we'll show you New York has a special pin right now. They're a little further on in their nightlife than we are today. You can look at it in a list view and see essentially by how many check-ins. And some have called this the wingman of apps, because you can click in and start to see what's going on. And you can see male to female ratios, different logins, and you can click down and say, gosh, what's going on at 24 Hour Fitness? Maybe I should go and meet somebody, or click in and take Foursquare to another level of actually being able to visualize who has checked in. How it works is it caches the last 3 hours of check-ins per venue. So it is semi-real time. There's a slight delay. We have to pull everything through Foursquare and mash it up with Google. But there's a lot of fun with it, because one of the things that you can't do with just Foursquare by itself is go to other towns, whether it's your hometown or somewhere on the other side of the world, and see what's going on there. So let's go ahead and check out New York right now in real time. The longer the spinning dial, the more spots that it's pulling up. We'll look at it in a map view, because that's always more interesting. So you see the green pin. We're artificially setting a latitude and longitude and essentially spoofing Foursquare to think we are there right now. And it's got a lot going on, so it's still loading. Foursquare is tied to Amazon Web Services, so we had some interesting pieces. So you can see that New York has a lot going on, and we have an atomic pin that can tell you about what's happening at the Tribeca, with 22 check-ins since 4 o'clock there. And you can start to see who the people are over there. We can go around the world, look at Tokyo. It's interesting to see what the LBS, or location-based services, participation is in different regions, particularly on weekends and evenings when people start to really heat it up, for no pun intended. So we think this has a lot of room to grow. After diving into it, making it happen, there was a lot of thought about why couldn't this be a mobile, native, or not native, but a mobile web app. So we're looking at different opportunities there, and even other monetary opportunities between just an AdMob app. This was really kind of a 0.5 release that we put together in a rapid fashion. got it out before Valentine's Day, and we launched it after New Year's. So it was a pretty rapid pace of how everything came together, and we see a lot of opportunity for it to grow into other places. We're also seeing a lot of other partners that are interested beyond just Foursquare. This was an initial opportunity to work with Foursquare closely, and if anyone's tried to work with Foursquare before, it is a very interesting partnership. So I'll leave it at that. From there, I wanted to just show you can filter. So if you're only interested in the guys or the ladies, if you want to see the nightlife only, all sorts of different things. So there are some fun things that happen here. So we can show you one other one. You think Vegas? Okay, we'll check on Vegas real quick here.
It's where I prefer to be right now.
Yeah. There we go. We'll give Taisha some tips of where to go next week. Okay, so it's going to give us the green pin. It's going to think about it, and the other beauty is that we can. Where's the strip here? I'm not a native Vegas attendee. It's right here. Okay, there it goes. All right. Just a slight delay. So, where to go in Vegas? We have Caesars, yes, Bellagio, and the whole best. So the other thing we wanted to do is create a quick way to flip through these, so you can just kind of do next in this view. So a lot of fun, a lot of places to grow with it. And one of the things we did is launch this at South by Southwest and had a fire starter party. And we have one extra large T-shirt here that we wanted to give away. And
QR code.
QR code on the back, of course. And absolutely, because you want people right behind you with their phone. So what we wanted to do was give that to the most recent person to check in at Urban Airship tonight. So with that in mind, we have Julian P. Julian P. There you go. Julian P. is one. There we go. Thank you for participating in location-based services.
I think we're all done early.
2 minutes early.
Beat that, look at that. So we get 10 minutes of questions, right?
Yeah.
Julian, do you want to come get your shirt?
Are there questions?
Go ahead.
What was the most technically challenging part of developing Foursquare?
Getting Foursquare on the phone. You know, our developers are not here right now, so I can talk from a distance. It was a true partnership. The service was started from our friends in Chicago, and then we added additional Google API pieces to that service, and then we collaborated UX, and they did the design, and we did the development. It was a real great collaboration in that sense. The biggest challenges were working within how Foursquare organizes and kind of nest information. And so wanting to kind of work backwards by the type of venue versus just give me all the nightlife, and then essentially how we have to scan across things is a little bit challenging. Other challenges we had were, gosh, I think that was primarily it, and just making sure we're getting the caching. We're caching so often so that we're not hitting the service too often, even though that we have a priority access that's still limited, and we didn't want to be too taxing on that. So yeah, just finding that happy throttle medium, I think, was probably the biggest challenge. Question back here?
How does the hotness scale for 22 people checking in New York is hot now, but it goes up to 100, then everybody goes to the top of your
That's a good point. So that's one of the features we're working on, is giving users the ability to adjust their heat ratings, so to speak. So, and also to set push notifications. So being able to say, hey, if my favorite venue has hit 30 check-ins, send me an alert. Tell me about it. Or more importantly, you know what? I'm in Austin during South by Southwest, and if it doesn't have 50+ check-ins, I don't think it's that hot. So being able to have that sliding scale opportunity, I think, is something that we're really working toward to tailor make it toward different situations. Because Monday night in Portland versus Friday in Austin is completely different. But the same person could be using the same app in that situation. And just want to adjust it for that. Did that answer?
Yeah.
Right here.
So you need to actually be a Foursquare user, sign in to use this?
No, you don't, and that's an interesting element. The question was, do you need to be a Foursquare user to use it? Now, that was actually one of our recommendations in the marketing of this, is have all the benefits of Foursquare without giving any details about yourself, quite frankly. I mean, you can scan it, see what's going on. Everyone that's participating is sharing all of this information publicly. We're not going through anything private. Everyone's opted in to share all of this information. So yeah, you can get a really interesting visualization of what's going on and not have any commitment to it.
Yeah, I think the only thing you get, if you're not logged in, you can't see detailed profile information on an individual.
Yeah, so...
But, yeah. Here's Dan.
We'll do a little Ashton Simpson here. So with that, you can't click down to get the headshots, essentially, that you would get in Foursquare to that depth, other than a thumbnail that you share. But I still think that's a little bit more information than Steve Jobs is getting right now, so we're in good shape. Okay, Michelle? Oh, okay.
I'm just curious, how many people do you have working on this project?
Good question. Off and on, I would say we have a half dozen locally and probably a dozen in Chicago that worked on this across the time frame. Right back here.
Yeah, as a restaurant owner, I'm not just as a marketing person. How can I increase my business in your particular application?
Come and see me after and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. We've got 2 more questions, I'm told.
Yes.
Right back here.
Have you had any concerns or kind of been rulings on free speech about saying that video theater's on fire?
Yes, absolutely. So it is not on fire. The Mary's Club is cool. Okay, last question right up.
Are you considering any other types of visualization, like an actual heat map?
That's a good point. There's another app from some folks in the Bay Area that was all around figuring out what genders were checking in at what venues, and it was a true heat map. So it kind of radiated like a kind of a geological survey, got lighter and lighter. If you need that, good. But we haven't yet. We really enjoy this so far with the icons from a distance, being able to get a list view at the same time. I think our intent is to move more into customization, and maybe other visualization patterns might come out of that, but we're definitely open to suggestions. So with that, I want to thank you guys for having us, and if you have any other questions, come find us.
All of the presenters, and